It's almost 2 a.m. You're still strapped in. Your hands are shaking, not from adrenaline anymore, but from anger. You just watched a podium finish get erased on a scoring monitor. And the man about to explain why isn't a rival. He isn't a TV analyst. He's the man who signs your paycheck. You're about to find out he already picked a side. And it isn't yours. This is the story of Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, and Ty Gibbs, three men tied to the same race team, the same garage, and now, the same unresolved argument. Before we go further, if you're new here, this channel is NASCAR Racing World, and we're closing in on 500 subscribers. If breakdowns like this are what you come here for, hitting subscribe and dropping a like genuinely helps this channel grow. Your support is what allows us to keep digging into stories like this one. The race in question was the Quaker State 400 at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, held on July 13, 2026. A rain delay pushed the race well past its scheduled window. The red-flagged weather stoppage ran roughly 3+ hours, dragging the finish to nearly 2 a.m. Eastern Time. What followed was a 263-lap overtime classic, featuring more than 30 lead changes. One driver crossed the line in second place. By the time the scoring sheet was finalized, he wasn't even in the top 25. And the person who would go on to publicly agree with that decision wasn't a stranger. It was his own boss. To understand how a second-place finish disappeared, you have to look at two separate incidents. The first happened in Stage 2. Bubba Wallace was running 6th and defending the low line against Ty Gibbs, driver of the number 54 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Contact between the two sent Wallace spinning through the grass, wiping out his stage points entirely. The second incident happened on the final lap. Running 3 wide down the backstretch, Wallace dipped below the double yellow line. According to NASCAR's ruling, Wallace was deemed to have gone below the double yellow line on the back straightaway on the race's final lap, and officials determined he gained a position by doing so. The penalty dropped him from P2 all the way to P29 on the lead lap. Wallace didn't hide his frustration in his pit road interview. He said, "It's unfortunate. You can go back and look at the SMT." He followed that with a more specific defense of what actually happened on track. "I was still third, and I got a shove from the 54 to go to second." His argument was straightforward. The contact from Gibbs, not his own move below the line, was what pushed him forward. NASCAR insider Jeff Gluck offered a different read on the same sequence, describing Wallace going low to run 3 wide while still holding third position when he returned to the racing surface, only advancing to second after contact from Gibbs pushed him there. Pittsburgh Road turned into the emotional center of this story almost immediately. Wallace didn't stop at explaining the penalty, he directly criticized his own teammate. He said, he had an opportunity to give there a lot, and he didn't do that. On the contact itself, Wallace was blunt, saying the hit meant Gibbs had run directly into him, and insisting his own move had been clean. His closing line on the situation was pointed, "Yeah, that's Toyota teammates. We don't race very well together." Ty Gibbs offered no apology in response. His explanation was simple, "I wouldn't tell him sorry because he cleared himself." Gibbs framed his own actions differently, describing the contact as an attempt to help Wallace by pushing him toward a stronger finishing position rather than costing him one. One driver says he was wronged. The other says he was trying to help. Nobody in that garage agreed on a single detail of what happened, except that the disagreement was real and public. National NASCAR reporter Matt Weaver posted video of the pit road confrontation the same night, captioning it as a direct disagreement between the two drivers, putting the tension on record before either team issued any official statement. This is where the story shifts from driver versus driver to something more complicated, because the next person to weigh in wasn't a rival team or a broadcaster. It was Denny Hamlin, co-owner of 23XI Racing, the very team Wallace drives for. Hamlin also happens to be a full-time driver for Joe Gibbs Racing, which makes Ty Gibbs his teammate in a completely different garage. That dual role is exactly what made his next comments carry so much weight. On his own podcast, Actions Detrimental, Hamlin was asked directly about the penalty and the contact between his driver and Gibbs. His response was measured but unmistakable: if you make a block that is forcing others to check up hard, you have to be okay with the consequence. Translated simply, if Wallace's block forced Gibbs into a difficult position, then Wallace has to accept what happened as a result. That isn't a defense of his own driver. That's an explanation for why his driver got hit. To be fair to Hamlin, he also clarified that penalty decisions aren't his to make. That responsibility falls to Dave Rogers, 23. She's head of competition. Hamlin isn't the one enforcing the rulebook. But when the cameras rolled and he was asked to weigh in, he didn't stay neutral. He gave a verdict anyway. And headlines out of that podcast episode reflected exactly that. Denny Hamlin backs Ty Gibbs over Bubba Wallace after heated Atlanta confrontation. That headline isn't fan speculation. It's a direct reflection of his own words. The consequences of that final lap penalty go beyond a single race result. Wallace's finish dropped him to 13th in the championship standings, roughly 298 points behind the current points leader, who happens to be Denny Hamlin, his own co-owner. There are 6 regular season races remaining before the playoff cutline tightens, and Wallace now sits tightly bunched with drivers like William Byron, meaning one more difficult weekend could reshape his playoff position entirely. The standings themselves now mirror the tension between the two men. Hamlin is rising in points. Wallace is sliding. Both are supposed to be working toward the same team goal. Wallace hasn't fully backed away from his position, but he has had to publicly process the ruling. In a follow-up conversation about the penalty, he acknowledged, "We've got a better understanding of the rule." Even in that acknowledgement, he made clear the underlying frustration hadn't disappeared, saying, "If the 54 didn't push me at the line, I would have finished third." Even while accepting the penalty stance, he's still pointing back at the contact from Gibbs. This isn't closure. It's a pause. This isn't the first time friction has surfaced around Wallace this season. Earlier in the year, there was a separate public exchange between Hamlin and Wallace that drew attention on its own. Separately, tension also surfaced between Wallace and Christopher Bell. 3 distinct flashpoints, involving the same driver, inside the same team environment, raise a question that hasn't been answered: whether 23XI racing is genuinely unified, or held together largely by raceweek scheduling. 2 versions of the same 10 seconds exist inside the same building. Wallace maintains that telemetry shows him checking up, and that Gibbs' push is what advanced his position. Hamlin's public comments suggest that under the rule, intent doesn't matter, advancing position below the yellow line at all is enough to trigger the penalty, regardless of who initiated contact. Neither side has changed its account since. So who do you believe, the driver who says the tape backs him up, or the owner who says the tape doesn't matter? Team Wallace or Team Hamlin? Drop your answer in the comments before you move on to the next video. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next. North Wilkesboro and Daytona are up soon, and these same 3 drivers will be drafting together at nearly 200 miles per hour. Make sure you're subscribed to NASCAR Racing World so you don't miss it, and if this breakdown helped you understand what actually happened in Atlanta, share it with another NASCAR fan who's still arguing about it.